إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن سار على نهجه ومن استنى بسنته إلى يوم الدين أما بعد فاتقوا الله أيها الأحباب فقد أمرنا سبحانه وتعالى في تنزيله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون ثم أما بعد. My brothers and sisters, we begin by praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, sending peace and blessings to His Messenger, alayhi afdalus salah wa atammu taslim. And on this blessed day of this blessed hour of Yawm Jum'ah, as we gather once again, seeking Allah's forgiveness, seeking Allah's acceptance. Traditionally, at least for myself, I don't usually start a khutbah this way. But I want to take a moment and pray for our brothers and sisters around the world, in Kashmir, in China, in all of the countries, places where our brothers and sisters, innocent brothers and sisters, who suffer day after day, night after night, and there is nowhere to turn for help, for guidance, for strength. We want to take a moment and offer the greatest strength that we know, and that is our dua and prayer to Allah Azza wa Jal. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to ease their pain and suffering. We ask Allah Azza wa Jal, all those whose lives have been taken, that their lives are not taken in vain, rather, Allah Azza wa Jal accepts all of them from amongst His shuhada. Allahumma ameen. I want to pray for our students. This is the last Friday that we may have a chance to gather like this. Many of you will have Jum'ah in other places. So wherever you go after this week, as you return back to your studies, as you return back to a routine, and for some of you students, you're starting a brand new routine. It's a brand new chapter and phase in your life. Some of you are graduating from a particular phase. Some of you have completed and you're starting a new job or a career, whatever it is. We want to take a moment on this blessed day and pray for you that may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect your iman in your hearts and in your lives. For the parents, I know that you never stop working. Even though kids will have a summer break, parents don't get those. You constantly have to worry and think. And there are parents here today that the back of their minds, they're also scared. They're also scared. You have your child that you groom and protect and love. Even if a mosquito comes around, you don't want anything to harm your child. But then, when this time of the year approaches, you have to kind of let go. And especially those of you who have never experienced that before with your kids, it's one of the most nerve-wracking feelings you cannot describe unless you're a parent. You don't know how to describe this feeling. You go home, you drop your kids off to school, and you can't stop thinking about them until you see them physically in front of you. And so for mom and dad here today, may Allah Azza wa Jal give you the best in this world and in the hereafter. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you strength, knowledge, and wisdom to cope with and overcome the challenges that you face, not just with yourself, but with your children, and all of the pressures and problems that they confront day after day, they're going to bring those problems to you. And even if they don't bring them to you when you're a parent, you just know something's not right. And when those moments happen, may Allah Azza wa Jal give you strength to get through it. Allahumma ameen. Ayyuha al-ahbab, these days, lots of students and parents are asking for advice. And they're asking for advice especially for their kids. Because the number one thing that aside from peace and security and so on, the most important thing in our hearts is that at the end of the day, despite whatever the climate is out there, I want my kids to be proud of their religion. I want my children to hold on to La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Give us something, tell us something that would help us and especially our kids hold on. Today, inshallah ta'ala, brothers and sisters, I have only two things that I want to share with all of us, but especially our students. So if it sounds like I might not be talking to you, inshallah ta'ala, I pray that you still find this message uplifting and beneficial in some capacity. Students, there are a lot of common questions that you ask when you get out there in school and work and other places. You ask about gender relations a lot. You ask about the interaction, the laws of interaction. You ask about friends. You ask about the challenges of praying and going for Jum'ah when those timings are conflicting with your schedules. You ask a lot of these things. And sometimes you get good answers, and then there are other times you're left stuck in the middle. You don't know what to do. So unfortunately, some of those students, you know what they do with Salah? They don't do it at all. It's just, I have school, I've got tests, I've got so much. Forget it. I'll pray Dhuhr tonight when I get home. And so, parents now see this stuff, but they also feel trapped. Because what are they supposed to do? When your kid comes home, and you can tell, or he or she, their actions, their attitude, gives you an insight, a clue, that something isn't right, and when you dig deeper, you find out they have a girlfriend. She's got a boyfriend. Or they've been on social media, and they're going through stuff and looking at pictures and what have you, but they're doing this with an account that you don't know anything about. Here you are thinking, you've had them on social media, and mom, dad, and we're all communicating, but here she's got a secret account that you don't know about. So what do? How do you get through this storm? And this storm, it seems like it never ends. Ayyuha al-ahbab, if I really and truly want to tell you something from my heart and pray that Allah gives me success and tawfiq, I wish to say to you that experience has taught us, and parents, you know what I'm talking about. Experience has taught us that these problems and these struggles are not going away. Gender relations, how you feel and your attraction to the opposite gender is never going to extinguish. You and I have to figure out how to keep those feelings under control. You can't get rid of them. It's our nature. It's how Allah created us. We have an attraction to the opposite gender. You could be married, you have children, you could be an elderly, whatever it is. There's always something there. So the first issue is, how do you cope with that? So when you look at all of these problems, there's only two things I want to share with you. Here is number one. As-salah, as-salah, as-salah. For the pilgrims and hujjaj that have just come back, there's a chapter in the Quran just for you, Surah Al-Hajj. In that surah, it tells you everything that you need to have and to think about when you're preparing for Hajj, when you're going through Hajj, and when you graduate and finish your Hajj. Now pay attention to the last verse in Surah Al-Hajj. The last verse. That surah started off with the Day of Judgment. It started off with the Day of Judgment. يَا أَيُّهَا النَّاسِ اتَّقُوا رَبَّكُمْ إِنَّ زَلْزَلَةَ السَّاعَةِ شَيْءٌ عَظِيمٌ. Allah said, O mankind, not Ya ayyuhal hujjaj. He's not just talking, subhanahu wa ta'ala, to the pilgrims. It's really amazing. This first opening ayah or sentence captured what Hajj was all about, which is, there is people coming min kulli fajjin amin, from every corner of the earth, and they're going to gather. So it almost feels like there's another planet within a planet. So Allah says, Ya ayyuhan nas, all of you mankind, watch out. Be conscious. Because the Day of Judgment, there's going to be an earthquake. In other words, it's going to be frightening. It's going to be a terrifying day. That's your opening introduction to Hajj. That's what you have to think about, the Day of Judgment. When all is said and done, now that you're here, we pray that Allah accepts your Hajj. Allahumma ameen. Allah concludes, listen to what He tells you. فَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةِ وَآتُوا الزَّكَاةِ وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِاللَّهِ. Allah Azza wa Jal tells us, especially those pilgrims, establish your prayers. Now, when you go for Hajj, what's the one act of worship you're doing the most? It's prayer. When you're not praying your fard salah, you're praying some kind of sunan or nafil or tahajjud or something. 90% of your effort is all in salah, salah, salah. When all is said and done, Allah tells you, oh, by the way, now that you're done your Hajj, make sure that you keep prayers, you keep that system, that discipline. Never let go. This is what aqimu is. Now, we say that aqimu literally means to establish. Is this correct? This is how we describe the word aqimu salah. I want you to think about something about this particular word. When I tell you, if I tell you, you need to establish a legacy, and then I tell someone else, brother, you gotta establish a legacy, man. Both of these sentences are talking about the same thing. But which one sounds more serious? Which one sounds more urgent? Which one sounds more important? The first one. When I say to you, establish, really put your mind on what kind of legacy you want to leave. Now here's the beautiful thing about this. Salah is the only act of worship that starts off its command with aqimu. Everything else that we do is either told, it's recommended, it's encouraged, or it is legislated through different terms. But when it comes to salah, Allah said aqimu, qama yaqimu. So the first thing is, when you hear the word aqimu, to establish, it immediately captures your attention. This is serious now. What do I establish, O Allah? Salah. Scholars, they say that salah is the one thing that gives you the solutions in life that nothing in life can give you the solution for. Nothing in this world can solve a particular problem or issue at whatever magnitude, whether it be at a global level or at an intimate level. Salah is the only thing that you and I have that could solve it all. How that process works, it's not our territory. Allah didn't tell us that. That's His territory. What does Allah want you to do? If there is one thing that you never ever let go, it's Salah. If you don't know who Allah is, if you don't know anything about zakat, if you don't know how to read some Quran, if you're not memorizing, if you're not doing that stuff, okay. You know that stuff is important. But before you get there, get your lifestyle tuned in to a routine. You know, for me, Salah is really one of the most remarkable disciplines for any human being in the history of mankind. 5 times a day at least, we stop our lives. Just let that resonate for a minute. 5 times a day, your life stops. You can't talk to anyone, you can't eat, you can't socialize, and then the next thing is, you've got to distance yourself away from distractions. And you got to focus on the one thing. You know, when non-Muslims hear this, they're amazed. You do that 5 times, and one of them is while everybody's sleeping in the morning, you do that? It's remarkable how we've treated Salah, and if we've gotten the lessons from it, it's a whole nother subject. We're just talking about the command and how this command is introduced to you and I. So for 5 times a day, we put our lives in the state of spiritual emergency. Stop, we establish. Nothing's going to change. Whether we're at a park, whether we're at a parking lot, outside, in the rain, in the snow, when it's time to pray, what do? You must pray. No one will ever truly appreciate this deen and truly understand who Allah is unless you pray. Not 3 times, not 4 times. It must be this amount. طيب. Now, let's journey on from Surah Al-Hajj and look what happens next. When you're done with Surah Al-Hajj, that's the last ayah. أقيموا الصلاة فأقيموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة. Next surah is what? Surah Al-Mu'minun. How did it start? قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. Success is given to whom? Muslimun? Mu'minun. People of Iman. أَفْلَحَ. You need to understand this word. If you don't, you need to understand what this word is really saying. In the English translation, it's translated as success. That's about 2% of what أفلح really is. أفلح. And by the way, there are many words in Arabic to describe success or being a winner or a champion. أفلح is the kind of success that you deserve. It didn't just fall into your hands. You ever watch a race or a team, 2 teams playing a sport, so basketball or what have you, and you look at one team and you know that team is going to win this game. It's in the books. They've got the best players, the best athletes, they've got the amazing record, everything's the whole package. And they're going up against a team that pretty much has the worst record in history. And you look at these 2 teams battling one another, and the team that has the worst record ends up destroying this one, and they win everything. And they didn't do this by fluke. They worked hard, they dedicated themselves, they believed, and they reaped the rewards. That's what aflaha is. Aflaha, it's the kind of success that you get, but you can't see it in front of you. It's hard. So the next time, especially students, when you come home and your mom and dad will say, okay, make sure you pray. Mom, dad, I'm tired, and blah, 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 blah. You gotta stop doing that. You gotta stop doing that. There's no way around this. You gotta just pray. Why do I have to pray every day? It's crazy. This is stuff that students say all the time. It's crazy. Why do I have to do this? Allah said, you're gonna get success in a way that you deserve it. You're sweating now because of prayer. Who wants to wake up at 5 a.m. and 3 a.m. in the morning and wet their limbs? Especially in the winter. Who wants to do that? But you do that, why? Because you want to be from قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. Now I'm going to fast forward, because this is going to lead us now to the second point, that piece of advice. I'm going to fast forward in Surah Al-Mu'minun to وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِفُرُوجِهِمْ حَافِظُونَ. And for them, these believers that have been given success, they need to guard their privates. What is this talking about? That's what I'm going to leave you with, inshaAllah ta'ala, in the second part of the khutbah. So this first part of the khutbah, as-salah, as-salah, as-salah. May Allah Azza wa Jal preserve prayer in our lives. Those of us that struggle to pray, may Allah Azza wa Jal give you the strength as you walk out of here today for the rest of your life, that you are counted amongst قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ. اللهم آمين. أقول ما تسمعون وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين من كل ذنب فاستغفروا إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن والاه أما بعد. Brothers and sisters, especially students, listen carefully to the second and last piece of advice that I hope and I pray would uplift me first, and inshallah all of us. Allah said, and one of the qualities of a successful believer is that they guard the private. حافظون here, وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِفُرُوجِهِمْ حافظون. It means that they guard themselves and protect themselves from this. So what's the imagery here? You know, when you're talking to the opposite gender, this ayah is teaching you and I as Muslims, stick to business. Don't get into that whole mushy stuff. Don't start complimenting each other about something that is totally irrelevant to the conversation. Get to the point. And so for the students, you ask this question a lot. How do I understand gender interaction? The answer is, just don't do it. And if you have to, stick to the conversation. Stick to the subject. If you need help, if they're part of your project or group, if your teacher is the opposite gender, Islam is not telling you to put your eyes into your desk and don't look at the teacher. What it's telling you is, just keep things relevant. Stick to business. You're there to learn, just learn. And even if you have to, in a respectfully but maybe blunt manner, cut the conversation, just do it. Because this is not going to stop, and it's a challenge, not just for students. We have to stop saying that. This is a challenge for all of us. Every one of us have this challenge. But Allah says, when you do this, when you protect yourself, you will find clarity in everything you do. Students, your homework will start to make sense. Your studies will become easier. Your mind will be clear. You'll be memorizing things. Everything will start to make sense if you get this one thing under control. Because scholars tell us, if you can control what you see, then you will control what you do. And so with that being said, two pieces of advice. Number one, never stop praying. It's urgent. When Allah told Musa alayhi salam, أَنَا فَاعْبُدَنِي فَأَقِمُ الصَّلَاةَ لِذِكْرِي لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا هُوَ. Allah said there's no deity worthy of worship but Him. So establish prayers, Ya Musa. Listen to the next ayah. We usually stop there. What was the next ayah? إِنَّ السَّاعَةَ آتِيَةٌ. The day of judgment is on its way. Atiyah is in present tense. It's on its way. It's on a journey. It's still moving closer to us. أَكَادُ أُخْفِيهَا. But I kind of hid it. It's concealed. You're not going to know exactly when it arrives, but it's coming. People ask the questions when they hear about Dajjal, when they hear about the signs of the Day of Judgment. What do we do? My God, this is crazy. Like, so many things are happening. The answer? Salah, salah, salah. Pray. That being said, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept from us our prayers. May Allah Azza wa Jal allow us to live our lives in prayer. Meaning that we establish prayers in our lives. We don't just do the routine, but Ya Rabbi, we ask you to allow us to see and reap the benefits, the lessons of prayer. Ya Rabbi, cause us as a community and as an ummah that we are elevated in this world and in the hereafter by accepting our prayers. Ya Rabbi, on this blessed day, we ask you to protect our sons and daughters. You know truly what they are about to embark on. Ya Rabbi, protect my son. Protect his heart. Protect his iman. Ya Rabbi, protect my daughter. Protect her hijab. Protect her sanctity, her sacredness, her honor, her beauty. Ya Rabbi, protect my children. Al-ahya'i minhum wal-amwat. Ya Rabbi, our mothers and fathers here, give them the strength that they need to wake up each and every day to serve you, to obey you. Give them the strength that they need to continue overcoming the challenges that they face day after day with themselves and their children. Allahumma ameen. We send peace and blessings to our Rasul salawatu rabbi wa salamuhu alayhi. كما أمرنا سبحانه وتعالى في تنزيله إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم اغفر للمسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم والأموات إنك قريب سميع مجيب الدعوات اللهم آت نفوسنا تقواها زكيها أنت خير من زكاها أنت وليها ومولاها يا رب العالمين ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.